Spider-Man
does what a spider can.
He's got comics, cartoons, video games, movies, hell, he even invented the Power Rangers.
地獄からの使者スパイダーマン
But just who is Spider-Man? So Peter Parker is your average everyday teen who lives with his aunt and uncle and has a burning passion for school, science, and wheat cakes. Yeah, wheat cakes! However, his love of breakfast foods and chemistry didn't exactly translate well for him around his peers, and Peter found himself the target of constant bullying and alienation. This led to Peter being a bit of a loner, and results in him attending an atomic science exhibit by himself, and coincidentally, being bitten by a radioactive spider. Ah! Oh god, this can't be OSHA compliant. This spider bite irradiated Peter's blood and gave him a variety of spider-themed superpowers. This includes the proportionate strength and agility of a spider, wall crawling, and his trademark spider sense, which warns him of nearby threats. Is this what 5G feels like? So with a clear head, Peter does what any teen with superpowers would do. He goes to the Sunday Night Super Slam! From there, Peter jumpstarts his career in show business and makes himself a costume and a pair of web shooters, taking on the stage name Spider-Man. Life is looking good for Peter, until one day after an appearance on Dr. Phil, Peter witnesses a man running from the police, and rather than being a narc, he lets the guy get away. A couple days later, tragedy strikes as Peter's Uncle Ben is murdered during a botched robbery. Enraged, Peter dons the Spider-Man suit to enact his own brand of vigilante justice. But after tracking down the perp, he realizes, this is the fugitive I let get away from the police. Well, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions. From here, Peter vows to use the powers he received to help others, living by the mantra, with responsibility great, power comes great. Wait, I think I got that back. So as you can tell, Peter is kind of a up, and this definitely isn't the last time he'd screw the pooch. To list a few examples, breaking and entering into the base of the Fantastic Four to look for a job, harassing the unstable owner of a right-wing news outlet to the point of having him put out a literal hit on Spider-Man, pissing off enough supervillains to have them unionize, repeatedly getting his Aunt May kidnapped by sheer coincidence, accidentally killing Wolverine's girlfriend, becoming a man-spider, going to Florida. It's honestly charming how bad Spider-Man is at his job. But somehow, through sheer force of will, he manages to make his way into college and meets the love of his life, Gwen Stacy, who then dies. It's too late, Spider-Man! But don't worry, your webbing didn't kill her. I'm sure she died from the shock far before she...
Oh, Gwen, no! Everything... I can't believe you killed her.
It's okay, bud. You didn't kill her, so there's no need to...
Oh, God, Gwen! I'll never love a woman like I loved you! You and I were going to live the rest of our lives together, and it was going to be
God, this is so
wonderful.
awkward.
We were going to have a...
So Spidey was having a bit of a rough patch between his girlfriend dying and his roommate Harry Osborn doing some real hard drugs. But then, Mary Jane swoops in. She and Peter get married, and everything overall is pretty swell for a while. He gets possessed by a black alien briefly.
You can't escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
Oh, and then Venom shows up. Holy shit, is that Tom Hardy? Then there was the Clone Saga. We're not talking about the Clone Saga. Do not ask me to talk about the Clone Saga. But after that, Pete goes about his business being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, dealing with villains around New York, or occasionally Space New York. But then the government steps in and starts telling superheroes they can't be going around being superheroes anymore because some dumb kids blew up half of Connecticut filming a reality TV show. Iron Man supports this full force and as a publicity stunt has Spider-Man reveal his identity on national television. He also gives him the sickest suit I've ever seen. Look at it! It's so f***ing cool! But then Peter turns on Iron Man because it turns out that letting your secret identity out to the world is kind of a bad idea.
How dare you make me face the consequences of my actions!
Pete at this point is on the run as a fugitive and on the run from the various villains of New York. Eventually they catch up to him and Aunt May ends up getting shot.
God damn it, the consequences of my actions!
Pete is at rock bottom. Nearly every single support structure in his life has crumbled. There's nowhere for him to run or hide. But at least he still has Mary Jane. And then Satan shows up.
Oh, come on!
Mephisto basically tells Peter that editorial isn't too happy with Peter still being married to Mary Jane, and if Peter wants everything to go back to normal, he has to give Mephisto his marriage. Yeah. Comic books are stupid. So Peter and MJ agree, and with a little magic tomfoolery from Doctor Strange, everyone forgets that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. After that, things finally start looking up for Peter. Yeah, he's not married anymore, but he finally gets to go back to his old life. He managed to land a nice job, he's actually making money. All in all, everything is going pretty well. And then he gets body swapped with Doc Ock and dies.
This is bullshit.
Sounds like a skill issue. From there, Doc Ock parades around as
The superior Spider-Man!
and has a pretty heartwarming face turn. But then readers wanted Peter back, so Doc Ock gives the body back to Peter, who wasn't actually dead because part of his mind was backed up in the subconscious of Doc Ock, because yeah, sure, why not? So Peter's back now, and apparently while he was away, Doc Ock started a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. So Peter fumbles his way through the wondrous world of capitalism. He then shortly bankrupts the entire company and then loses the trademark to Spider-Man.
How do you even do that?
Peter, for all intents and purposes, is a professional bag fumbler. But that's honestly the central theme of Spider-Man. He's a very human character. Despite being a hero and having wondrous abilities, he f***s up all the time. He constantly has to pick up after his own messes. He makes the wrong decisions just as much as he makes the right ones. But he never gives up, and he always pushes to do the right thing. So yeah, that's Spider-Man. You can rewrite DNA on the fly, and you're using it to turn people into dinosaurs? But with tech like that, you could cure cancer!
But I don't want to cure cancer! I want to turn people into dinosaurs!